Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you doing?
Very good. I'm excited. We got some guests coming today, so that's really cool. We got my mother-in-law and my grandmother-in-law coming to town. So are you as excited as I am?
Yes.
My wife, this is my wife that I work with here. She's like, I got to get right away. I got to get up. I got to clean the house. It's almost like you have some sort of inspection coming up later today.
You don't understand. I do.
That is so funny to me. If my mom was coming, would I do anything? I'm like, I might.
No, you wouldn't at all.
Tidy up the garage or something. I don't know. Hey, a recent survey reveals women have no problem buying knockoffs. 3/4 of women questioned in a poll admitted that they knowingly purchased counterfeit designer items. Many said they have as many as 5 fake dresses, handbags, wallets, jewelry, or pairs of shoes. Do you have any of the knockoff, like fake stuff that you know of?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is
Absolutely.
your favorite knockoff that you have?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I think it's a sweater.
Do I have anything that's a knockoff? Is all my stuff genuine?
All of your stuff is just generic.
My stuff is
not even a knockoff. It's just...
my clothing is all genuine generic, and I'm just fine with that. Hey, I love your white shirt. What is that? I don't know.
It's a white shirt.
Probably not Hanes. Thank you so much for listening. You are tuned in to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
If you spend a lot of time listening to your iPod or iPad or MP3 player or whatever that you maybe store music on, you better turn the volume down. There's growing evidence that these devices can cause hearing loss for those who like to crank it up, Heidi. People are turning them up louder and louder, and it's causing problems. A new study shows that 5 million American children have some degree of hearing loss induced by exposure to noise. What?
You know, first of all, I don't know why they needed a study for that. That's just common sense. You proved that years ago. You can't hear anything.
I can hear a lot of things. I sure can.
Yeah.
No, I do have hearing loss because of loud music. So
you do.
Kids, be careful out there. I actually have a guest that we're going to have on the program. Now, talk about planning ahead. Wednesday, the 19th of August, is when we're going to be chatting with the young lady. Going to be talking about hearing loss issues. So be sure to tune in on that day, Wednesday, the 19th of August. Going to chat more about that. But a lot of kids out there that probably didn't hear a thing we just said. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got square watermelons on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
You know it's true, Heidi, because you heard it on the radio. Take a listen to this. Have you ever seen a square watermelon?
I have.
You have? Where did you see one?
Online.
Okay, so you just saw photos of one or like video of one.
Right.
You never seen one like in real life?
No.
Nor have I. I've seen them online as well. But green grass, swimming, barbecues, and watermelon. That's summertime, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when my mom would bring one of those giant watermelons home, go to the kitchen, try to chop that thing open, and then it was really bad when you couldn't fit it in the refrigerator. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, okay, now what do we do? I guess we get to eat watermelon all night.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we get to do. So here's the thing, though. Nowadays, watermelons, back then, they were all round and they would roll all over the place. Well, thanks to a very clever Japanese inventor, he invented square watermelon. And it wasn't brand new. 20 years ago, he thought of making a cube-shaped watermelon, which could be packed and stored more easily. To pull this off, the farmer grew the melons in glass boxes, and the fruit then naturally assumed the shape. Today, the cubed watermelons are hand-picked and shipped all over Japan, although they're definitely something to look at. Not all shoppers like the price tag. How much do you suppose it would set you back for a square watermelon?
I bet they're insane. I've never purchased one. I've never even seen one here in the States, but I'm sure they're not cheap.
In Japan, where they grow them, they are 10,000 yen.
Which is
$83.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I'd rather buy a round one and have leftovers forever.
Well, despite the price tag, people are still buying them. So Here's my suggestion to you. If you happen to be a farmer or somebody that grows watermelons, find a way to make yours square as well. He was growing his in glass containers and breaking them to get them out. Maybe that's why they're so expensive.
Yeah, because
Here's
then
my
he has
question.
to replace the containers. But couldn't
Make
they make
one
a
with
container
hinges
that you
can
just open?
unlock it and open it up? I don't know. Maybe I should patent that quick. The square melon maker container thingy. I have to come up with a better name probably. Square watermelons from Japan. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain. And this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. We're going to head to Dallas for this one. Police there say they found 50 suspected pot plants growing in a classroom in a school that's been vacated. I think it's vacated for the summer, or maybe it's just been vacated altogether.
Yeah, maybe it's just empty
The
altogether.
Wilmer Hutchins High School. Another 200 flower pots were being prepped for growing marijuana. A school district spokesperson says the indoor marijuana farm was equipped with grow lights and buckets to water the illegal crop. The Dallas Morning News reports that a tip to officers led them to the school-turned-grow house. So somebody said, yeah, that school over there, they're growing drugs in there.
Huh.
Yeah, that's not I guess if you're going to do that, you got to do it somewhere. I never really thought of that, but that probably wasn't the greatest
school's
plan.
abandoned and isn't being used anyway.
I'm
might
not
as well use
condoning
it for something.
that. I think that's a bad idea. But just one more example of when, people aren't all that smart. So this is your brain on drugs. Coming up, your moment of duh.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
The moment of duh is not always criminals. Sometimes it's other people, like, I don't know, people who run a prison in Brazil. You see, there was a helicopter used in a recent jailbreak, so the prison officials ordered all prison guards and staff at a Brazilian prison to shoot, then ask questions later at any helicopter attempting to land at the jail. One problem, the Brazilian government also had a group of prisoners being escorted by police being delivered by helicopter to one of their prisons. So secret was this operation, even prison officials were not informed that they would be coming.
Oh.
You can guess what happened next. Prison guards began firing on the police
Oh my
helicopter
gosh.
as it came in for a landing. Nobody was hurt, fortunately, but the helicopter had to make an emergency landing after being hit several times.
Oh, man. You
they-
might want to let prison officials
and
know
the thing
what's
is,
going down.
This is a communication issue because they had a jailbreak attempt with a helicopter. So they said, okay, any helicopters that come here, shoot them. And then they're like, next week we should schedule a helicopter to visit
Oh my
and drop off
gosh.
some people and not tell anybody. Yeah, that's not smart. All right. We have your scoop of the day coming up after this.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. A once homeless Ohio man whose smooth radio voice made him an internet sensation a few years ago. Remember that guy? Ted Williams is his name?
Oh, yeah.
He was he had the camouflage jacket on.
I remember him. Yeah.
He's an internet sensation. He's running for president now as an independent.
Whatever.
He was propelled into the spotlight in 2011 after he appeared in a video panhandling on a highway ramp with a sign advertising his golden voice. The video's millions of views led to a national
Lord.
television appearances, earned him numerous voiceover jobs. Williams says he hasn't established a campaign staff yet and won't elaborate on his fundraising efforts, but he plans to focus on fair housing for veterans and veterans issues and jobs improving schools. So I can stand behind all of that. I might actually pull up to his on-ramp and donate to that campaign. So I'm just assuming that's how it's
okay.
done.
I think in order to be able to run the country, you must first be able to manage your own life.
I think he's
don't
gotten
you
things
think?
back together since then. I really do. I don't know, but I believe that he's gotten his life back together. He was homeless at one point. It says a once homeless man, not anymore. So, all right, a band of missionaries are working around the clock to spread the gospel. Guess which country they're planning on going to?
I have no idea.
Just guess. Any country.
The United States, we could sure use it.
You are correct.
Yeah.
You're trying to be sarcastic.
No, I wasn't.
Humor.
We could use it. We need
Yes.
it.
Korea's second largest missionary agency is sending thousands of missionaries to America to become janitors, all in the hopes of finding converts who could lead America back to Jesus. The missionaries hold full-time jobs rather than getting support from an agency. So they come here, they get a real job, and then they use their off hours, their holidays and vacations to evangelize on college campuses. So it's interesting that a country, United States of America, that was founded on Christian principles is now in other parts of the world, they're saying they really need some help.
Yep.
So they're sending their missionaries here.
I think that's wonderful.
And I think
we could
those of us who are Christians, we should be doing this on our own too. So, I really think that we should pitch in and help out on that. A man in China narrowly survived a very bizarre accident recently in which a giant circular saw blade fell out of the back of a truck on a highway.
Oh.
And it rolled down the highway and crashed into his vehicle and chopped into it, narrowly missing him.
Oh.
Can you imagine driving down the road and seeing this giant blade coming towards you? You're like, what is that?
Oh, my God.
Is that a giant saw blade coming right at me? Being a little less carnivorous could be maybe a thing to help you stay slim, Heidi. Dr. Anne Claire Vengard, I'm only assuming she's a sadist or something because she's saying you got to quit eating meat. She's from Imperial College in London at the UK. Her colleagues and they found that people who eat more meat gained more weight. They did a 5-year study. Those who ate less meat but the same number of calories gained less weight. Researchers looked at different types of meat. Guess which one they found the strongest association with the gain of weight?
What's that?
It was poultry. So for those of you who think, I'm going to eat healthy.
Really?
I'm going to have chicken. Well, we're wrong.
We eat chicken all the time
know.
because
And
it's
look at
supposed
me.
to be leaner.
I can barely squeeze into this
You're
chair.
not supposed to eat 6 chickens.
Oh, maybe that's my problem. The next thing was processed meats, and then third on the list was red meats, according to the study of thousands of Europeans. So there you go. Astronauts have a down-to-earth problem. It could be even worse on a long trip to Mars. They just can't get enough sleep. And over time, the lack of slumber can turn intrepid space travelers into drowsy couch potatoes, according to a new study. In a novel experiment, 6 volunteers were confined in a cramped mock spaceship in Moscow to simulate a 17-month voyage. It made most of the would-be spacemen lethargic, much like birds and bears heading into winter, gearing up for hibernation. The men went into a prolonged funk. So they're saying that, hey, we can't handle this. We need to get a little more exercise. So they're saying if we're going to send somebody to Mars, they need to have like a treadmill in there or something. Or they could just send us, because I just sit here all day. I've been doing that way longer than 17 months. All right, your strange law. In Joliet, Illinois, it is illegal to mispronounce the name Joliet. I mean Joliet. I'm going to be
Are
arrested.
you sure you pronounced it right?
Yes,
Even
it's
after
Joliet.
saying Joliet?
It is Joliet, but it's illegal to mispronounce that name in the city of Joliet, Illinois. And I think it's because it looks very much like toilet. Joylet, but it's
Okay.
Joliet. That's been your strange law, and this has been your scoop of the day. Rough crowd.
Yeah.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening on a Thursday. We have a special guest on the line today, best-selling author Nadia Hashimi. She's got a best-selling book called The Pearl That Broke Its Shell. Now there's a new book out, When the Moon is Low. Nadia, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here with you.
So, Nadia, we've got the new book here, When the Moon is Low. First question, I guess, is this a continuation of The Pearl That Broke Its Shell? Do I need to read that book first before this one makes sense?
Not at all. They're very different stories. They both have to do with the lives of Afghans, but in very different ways.
Very nice. So tell me a little bit about the new book, When the Moon is Low.
So this is a story of an Afghan family that's growing up initially during a time of peace in Afghanistan. There's a young woman named Fareba who loses her mother very early in life and has a stepmother who sort of interferes with what she would want for herself. But she's able to find love and find a marriage that is wonderful for her, that treats her very well, and she has a very normal middle-class life. And then all of that is really pretty abruptly taken away from her and turned upside down with the introduction of war and then the Taliban sort of taking over Kabul. And when she loses her husband and is put into some very dire straits, she's forced to flee with her 3 children and try to make her way over to England to reunite with some extended family.
Visiting once again with Nadia Hashimi, author of When the Moon is Low. Now, Nadia, this is your second book about people from Afghanistan, and I see your family is from there. Were you actually born in Afghanistan?
My parents came over in the early 1970s, and I was born in the United States. So we had a sort of this trickle of Afghan family members who over the years came to the United States, and then also people had left Afghanistan for other areas of the world where they lived as refugees in India and Australia, throughout Europe. And so I got to know the process of people leaving their homeland under very harrowing situations and what it was like for them, just watching the evolution of a refugee, so to speak, where they sort of have a very comfortable life, all of that's being taken away. They have to find a new place to call home and then rebuild from there.
Many of the people listening probably don't have relatives and friends that are refugees like you do, but the number of people who are refugees is a staggering number. I'm reading that 145,000 refugees from Syria alone. That's a crazy number.
It is a big number, and the numbers are really staggering and sort of unimaginable when you think about it. You know, if you want to throw big numbers around this, the UN in the last years released figures that we are now at 60 million worldwide people being displaced from their homes because of conflict or different situations. So 60 million is an incredible number to try to digest or wrap your head around. And what I hope to do through storytelling is, you know, what I've appreciated as a reader is being able to digest these really big statistics or really big concepts by following the life path of one individual or of one family, getting to know them on a personal level, and that kind of empathy, that kind of connection that we develop, being able to translate that into those masses that we read about.
So as we read the book, When the Moon is Low, the characters that we're reading about, are these based on real people or kind of loosely based on real people?
No, they're loosely based on, the Fariba character, for example, is loosely based on a couple of people in my own family, her, especially the early parts of her life, you know, losing her mother so early on. The rest of it really is sort of this conglomerate of all of these people who have had to be displaced from their homes, who have suffered under years of war, and not just Afghans, really. I mean, this particular story starts off, and it's the story of them leaving Afghanistan, but I've had people from other nationalities and backgrounds read it and contact me and tell me that they can relate to it, whether they come from a Latin American country or from Pakistan or from some other countries. I've had people tell me that they can really relate to the sentiments of that displaced.
Again, our guest today has been best-selling author Nadia Hashimi. She's got a new book out called When the Moon is Low. Nadia, where can I find a copy of this book?
Just about anywhere that books are sold, and all the links for where to find it and how to find it are on my website, which is NadiaHashimi.com.
Well, we're going to send folks out to get your second book. Nadia, are you working on your third book yet?
I sure am. I'm working on a third and a fourth, actually. So I have a middle grade novel that's coming out in the following year. It's a middle grade version of my first novel, which is about a young girl dressed as a boy. It's an Afghan custom to sometimes dress young girls as boys for a variety of reasons. And so that one is coming out fall of next year. And after that, I'm working on one that really talks about the women suffering from injustices in Afghanistan, the prisons, and the imprisonment for crimes of immorality.
Well, sounds like you've got a lot of work ahead of you. Thank you again for taking the time to chat with us today. Our guest today has been Nadia Hashimi. Her new book is out right now, When the Moon is Low. Buy that wherever you like to buy your books. And thank you so much for joining us on a Thursday right here on The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Thursday, the 30th day of July, and holy cow, do we have a lot of stuff. I'm going to celebrate this one. It's National Cheesecake Day. I love cheesecake. Oh, that's good stuff.
It's all right.
Also,
I can't have it very often. It's
really?
Too sweet. Yeah.
How are we married? How did that
don't
happen?
know how.
Oh, I know
that
how
happened.
we're married because I put up with your non-cheesecake lifestyle. That's how. Friendship Day today as well. International Day of Friendship, too. National Healthcare Now Day. It's the birthday of Medicare. Also, National Support Public Education Day. Father-in-Law Day. Paperback Book Day. And another one I'm going to celebrate, National Chili Dog Day.
I don't like
dogs.
chili dogs.
I know you don't. You don't like cheesecake either. Guess what I'm
I
having
like
for lunch?
cheesecake. I just don't like it like all the time.
Guess
like
what
you
we
do.
are having for lunch today?
Let me guess. Chili dogs and cheesecake.
Probably not. I would intend to, but I'll forget. There you go. Today's a special day. Get out and celebrate one way or another. It is a special day on this Thursday, the 30th day of July.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Here's a question for you, Heidi. Should restaurants be required to include the number of calories on the menu?
No.
I don't know if that's a good idea either, but a new rule requiring New York restaurants to post calorie information on their menus is now in effect. It is the first for a U.S. city. Health inspectors can fine fast food and casual dining chains up to $2,000 if calorie information is not displayed on the menu in the same font and format as the name or the price of the food item. So they can't make it small and scrunch it under there. Industry experts say they do not expect the new rule to have much of an impact on consumer habits.
No, it's not going to at all. Here's the thing. If you're going to a restaurant, you know that you're eating crappy anyway. You know that. You understand that.
Now time for the big but. But officials say the rule could prevent at least 150,000 New Yorkers from becoming obese and could prevent at least 30,000 from developing diabetes over the next 5 years.
Could, but it won't.
And probably won't, because even if you put it up there, it's not like I can go, seriously? This isn't healthy for me?
I'm not supposed to eat that double cheeseburger?
With bacon on it?
Bacon?
Are you...
And extra mayo?
That's not good for me?
It's not going to make a difference at all. If people go out looking for those things, they're going to eat them, whether it says on the side, this is not good for you or not.
If you want to know what's good for you and what's not good for you, all you have to do is look at the little food pyramid thingy. Remember that?
Yeah.
Had all the stuff in there that's good. They should just post one of those everywhere. You say, I'd like to eat what's in that triangle over there. All right. Coming up, going to talk about the economy and what it's doing to lemonade stands. Oh, yeah. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
When I was a kid, I never got to have a lemonade stand. Ever. I went to other
Really?
people's.
Oh, we used to have them all the time.
Never did that. But the economy is hitting everybody hard, even kids with lemonade stands. Heidi, take a listen to this. With lemon prices rising by 35% in the last year, lemonade stands are feeling the pinch. Rebecca Horowitz, age 5, and Ari Horowitz, also age 5, of New York City. I wonder if they're married. Maybe they're brother and sister.
Probably brother and sister.
Guessing so, since they're age 5. They live in New York City and say because of the economy, they doubled their prices from 50 cents to $1 for a cup of lemonade. Meanwhile, 10-year-old best friends Alliston Biggs and Fisher Bodle of New York City found a cute marketing ploy to get adults to drink their lemonade. Know what it is?
What's that?
They're 10 years old, but they spelled lemonade wrong.
Oh.
And they said, adults think it's cute and buy more. These kids are geniuses.
I bet they do.
They do. It says they spell it Lemade, lemonade. So people walking by are like, oh, it's so cute.
How cute is that?
Here's
Let's
$1.
buy some.
Just take Visa.
I do remember that when I was a kid, though, when an adult would come and they would give me a full $1 for my 25-cent glass of lemonade or my 10-cent glass of lemonade. We thought we were rich. It's like we were closing down for the day. That was it. One sale. We were finished.
I'm going to drink the rest
of
this
myself. And we took the money. We went down to the mini mart and bought all kinds of candy and... Yeah.
Well, we're there with the profits for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, get out there if you see a lemonade stand. Stop and grab some of that. And give them $1 or $2. I suppose you got to give them a $5.
Yeah, you got to give them way more now to make them happy.
You got change for a $20? No, I'll just take your $20.
They're asking $1 a glass now, so you got to give them a $10.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
For the first time since Google began testing prototypes of the self-driving car, there's actually been a crash.
Really?
Self-driving car crash.
Who saw that coming?
But before you lobby for the end of these tests, It is important for you to note that it was not the machine's fault. According to Relevant Magazine, a Google-rigged Lexus SUV got rear-ended in Mountain View, California, where the company has 20 vehicles driving themselves around. It was the program's first accident with injuries. Both the scientists in the Google vehicle and the driver of the normal car complained of neck and back pain. Self-driving vehicles have actually been involved in 14 accidents. All of the accidents, though, have been caused by humans in other cars striking the self-driving vehicle.
Okay, but
So, it's not their fault.
how is it not their fault?
Because they were obeying the rules of the road. They're programmed to do so.
But
They
this
were
is
doing
the
nothing
problem.
wrong.
This is the problem with self-driving vehicles because there's nobody in the vehicle that can respond to human error. So there's
Yeah.
always going to be
Here's
manually
probably what
driven
happened to most of these
vehicles.
14 accidents. Somebody driving along saying, there was nobody driving that car. Smash. Whoa, well, I guess we're going to find out now. That's probably what happened.
But
I
there's
can
got to
only
be
imagine. A
way-
fail-safe plan of some sort.
Well, I mean, because accidents are going to happen, and,
Yeah.
and if humans are driving vehicles and there's an error, there's no way for the self-driving vehicle to respond and avoid
the
that
biggest
error.
cause of accidents is human error. So,
Yes.
Because we're a bunch of idiots.
But do you
So
think
that's the problem.
100% of all cars will be self-driven? That's not going to happen.
Someday. That's what they're hoping for. So anyway, check it out, Google. They're solving the world's problems that we didn't even know we had. Coming up, we're going to talk about massaging. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1 plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Whether it's the squeeze of a hand or a big bear hug or the kneading massage, touch is shaping up to be the ultimate body-mind medicine. Did you know that, Heidi? From lowering blood pressure to heart rate to increasing immune function and relieving pain.
Well, you should give me a massage.
Getting touched or doing some touching makes you feel healthier, not to mention happier and less anxious. Recently, researchers measured immune functions in healthy adults who got either a 45-minute Swedish massage or a 45-minute lighter touch. The massage group had substantially more white blood cells, including natural killer cells, which help you fight viruses and other pathogens. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin in Madison tested that when they analyzed stress levels among volunteers giving a presentation afterwards, participants who got hugs from their mom saw a decrease in cortisol levels after an hour of sitting in the presentation. So cortisol suppresses the immune response. It says on here, even more intriguing, when you're in a happy relationship, holding hands reduces stress. So I've noticed that. You and
I agree with
we'll
that.
be at something.
When I'm stressed out, I
I'll just hold
always
your hand.
reach right out for your hand.
I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, just calm down. Can have our own little language of squeezes too, of when you're gripping my hand so hard that my fingers turn white and I cut off. I'm like, you seem angry. Is there a problem? It's almost like we have our own little language here. Anyway, back to this. If you're a pet owner, you've no doubt noticed that you're less tense when you're scratching your animal behind the ears. In fact, research shows that people's blood pressure drops when they pet a puppy, particularly if the puppy is a puppy they know and love. Dog petting has also been shown to improve immune function and ease pain, or at least the perception of pain. So all of this is happening at the University of Wisconsin. Somebody there said, I have an idea. Let's get a grant to just touch each other. I'm guessing it was a guy. And, young lady, would you be involved in my study? This is really important stuff. We need to hug for a while. All right, we've got some good news on the way. Thanks for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
I always try to end things with something positive, and I think this is pretty positive. The world's most perfect food may have just arrived, Heidi. Take a listen to this.
All right.
According to Time magazine, researchers from the Oregon State University's Hatfield Marine Science Center say they've created and patented a new type of seaweed. Okay, you lost me at seaweed. But it has the potential to be sold commercially as the next big superfood. You know why?
Why?
Because they say it tastes just like bacon.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it does.
The invention is actually
just like
a new...
kale tastes like potato chips.
Yeah, it's a new strain of marine algae packed full of minerals and proteins, And it says it has twice the nutritional value of kale. So they're saying this is really good stuff, and it's good for you. So there you go. Hey, one other story here. We didn't talk about this last week, but there was a new book that came out last week. I would have loved to have talked to the author, but he's been gone for a while. Dr. Seuss had a new book come out. What Pet Should I Get? It was released last week, and it's a very interesting book, interesting concept, because Theodore Seuss Geisel, better known by his pen name, Dr. Seuss, died in 1991. The original manuscript was a series of black and white illustrations with separate pieces of text taped by the drawings. It was discovered in 2013 by his widow in a box of drafts and sketches, and it's very controversial because there are people saying that they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have sold this. But
well, no, they shouldn't have, because it wasn't a finished work on his part.
I'm going to
so
say right
he wouldn't have been happy with it.
As a fan of Dr. Seuss, one of my favorite books is Green Eggs and Ham. Love that book. And when people ask, what's your favorite book? If you say Green Eggs and Ham, they look at you funny. But the guy was brilliant in many, many ways. And I, for one, am really glad that they put this out, because it's one more thing that we get. Now, if they keep putting things out, they're like, hey, we found another one. This one was in under the mattress.
Like V.C. Andrews.
Hey,
guess that was V.C. Andrews. She's still coming out with books. She's been dead for 20-some years.
That would be concerning to me. But if there's one that was found, way back when, that's cool. Hey, one other thing that I didn't have a place for in the program today. Buckingham Palace is in need of restoration. Guess how many renovations and how much it's going to cost to get things up to snuff at
I have no idea. I've read this, though.
$200 million.
Yeah.
They say $200 million of renovations are needed. You might want to just build a new palace. That's kind of bad. All right, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow right here on the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. When you get there, you can buy razors that are called the Humble Twin. That's the most affordable one. It's $1 a month plus $2 for shipping. So $3 a month, and they're right in your door while they're in your mailbox. If your mailbox is in your door, then they'll be in your door. I just want to make sure I come out and tell people the truth. They're going to bring them right to your mailbox. And then if you want to upgrade to the next step, it's $6 total, or the best of the best of the best of the best for $9 a month total, and that's delivered right to your door. And that's the Executive Series, the ones that I get. So if you want to shave like Big John Small, you go with the Executive Series, right?
I suppose so,
You can be silky smooth like my beautiful wife Heidi and her legs if you... Or just talk somebody else into signing up and steal their razors like she does.
That's right. It works
would
well
work
for
too.
me.
Either way, somebody's got to do it. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio. All right. We're not big football fans, or I guess this isn't even football. What is MLS? Is it Major League Soccer? That's what that would be. I had to think for a second. I guess that's also football in other countries. Well, we're not big fans of any of this stuff, but there's a big FIFA Women's World Cup that just happened or is happening. Did that just happen, or is that on the way? It says with it in the news.
I do not follow it. I don't care.
Wallet Hub, those guys always do us such great. They always help us out with great things. They compiled a bunch of data and compared 172 most populated U.S. cities with at least one college or professional soccer team. That doesn't leave many cities, does it? So you got to be a major city, and you have to have some sort of soccer team.
Okay.
And they have 18 key metrics, and they figured out which are the best and worst cities for soccer fans. So that's what we're going to talk about.
I really don't care. Why are we talking about this?
I don't know. Because they sent it. Should I quit reading these things?
They should make an all-girls soccer team, and if I was going to name it, I'd call it Socrates.
Socrates?
Socrates.
Why would it be an all-girls team then?
Because they're teases.
Oh, tease.
Socrates. You spell it weird. Socrates. But if we say it, it sounds like Socrates.
Thank you. Do you want to start?
It's more interesting than what you were talking about.
Well, the truth is, that is much more interesting. Worst city or best city first? I'm not going to go through the whole
the worst.
list. Worst city for soccer is Stockton, California.
Okay.
There's a whole list of other cities. We don't really care.
Cares?
How about the best city? If you were, second to the worst is Sacramento, California. So now let's talk about the best of the best of the best. Like, if you were a soccer fan, this would be the place to live. Where do you think that is?
Boise, Idaho.
No. But they're not on the list anywhere. So it's in that same general vicinity, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Are you kidding? I
No.
would have never guessed that.
Yeah, that is soccer mecca, apparently.
Huh.
Also, Mansfield, Connecticut did second. Conway, South Carolina, and Clemson, South Carolina did third and fourth. And College Park, Maryland in fifth place for the best cities for soccer fans. They have all the stats on how they came up with that, but I don't think anyone cares enough for me to read all those.
No, not at all.
All right. That's going to do it for our bonus break. I really, truly think I need to go find something better to read for this thing tomorrow. This is terrible. Thanks, Wallet Hub. Our bonus break is brought to you by DollarShaveClub.com/radio.